What's happening for your period right now is a reflection of what's been going on for the past 3 months. Today's episode is all about how to have better periods, aka understanding your body's monthly report card. Welcome. My name is Skidden. I am your host and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner specializing in women's hormone health and gut health. And today in this video, I'm going to be going over the 4 phases of your cycle, why the last 90 days matters. We're also going to be talking about 3 ways to have better periods and some next steps. A little bit about my journey. I went from having no energy, irregular periods. There was a day where I had to call in to my work at the time years ago to say, can't come in because I had to fake sick because I was laying in bed in excruciating pain because of my period. And when we have the information to nurture our body works with us because we can work with it. And it becomes this powerful connection. And I want the same for you. So let's get started right away into the 4 phases of your cycle, and then we'll go down the line. Now, there are 4 phases. There are 4 parts, stages, seasons that a woman goes through in a single cycle. So, whether you have a 28-day cycle, whether it's a 32-day cycle, there are 4 seasons your body is going through. So, let's take a moment to go through those right now. Your menstrual phase is the first day of your bleed. Day one of your period is day one of your bleed. Typically, this can last 5 to 7 days long, depends on the woman, 4 to 7 days long. And if fertilization doesn't happen, what happens here is your corpus luteum, it breaks down. This causes a drop in your progesterone and estrogen levels, and this leads to the shedding of your uterine lining, leading to menstruation that takes place in this phase right over here. Now let's move on to our follicular phase. This begins right after your period ends, and it takes us all the way into ovulation, that's here in the purple. Now, your follicular phase, it depends. It can be anywhere between 10 to 14 days long. It's the first half of your cycle. This is where estrogen is steadily rising, which stimulates the development of follicles in the ovaries. Your ovulatory phase is typically 2 to 4 days long. So, this is a bit longer as a visualization. And it's marked by a surge in LH, which is your luteinizing hormone. This occurs because of the rising estrogen levels, leading to a release of a mature egg in the from the ovaries. And then your luteal phase is the last phase of your cycle, and this is typically 10 to 14 days long. This is in the second half of your cycle where progesterone is your dominating hormone. This is leading to menstruation, where due to ovulation, progesterone has been secreted, which is why it's dominating. This is because the ruptured follicle transforms into the corpus luteum, producing progesterone and preparing the uterine lining for potential implantation of a fertilized egg. Fun fact, you need to ovulate in order for your body to produce progesterone, and adequate levels of progesterone is important in order to maintain that calm feeling, in order to not have estrogen dominance, which can contribute to heavy cycles. And so the balance between our hormones is very important. Ensuring that we're ovulating is very important. I have a separate video on how to track ovulation, but this is a short overview of the 4 phases of our cycle. Here's why the last 90 days matters, because you need to look at each menstrual cycle as a 3-month journey. 3 months before before a follicle releases an egg, it begins the process of maturation in your ovaries. These follicles are like little eggs in waiting. They develop gradually under the influence of your body's hormones over this period. So, while the most notable changes occur in the final weeks leading to ovulation, oh, let's say you're ovulating on this day, so the most notable changes will happen in this part of the calendar. It's this entire period that's influencing the health and development of these follicles. The health of these follicles and the hormones that control them, it's shaped by how we're nourishing our body, how we're eating, how we're sleeping, how we're managing stress, living our life daily. So what you do today affects not just your next period, but the one after that. So when a woman comes to me and says, well, my month has been great, but my period, it's coming up and it's heavy and it's painful and I have no idea what's going on." I'm asking her to take a look back, peel back the layers of what's been happening in her life for the last 90 days. That's when she'll think to herself and be like, well, actually, last month or the month before, I didn't have much time for myself. I was going through this period of my life. I had a family death. I was under a lot of pressure and stress at work. And so these little things or big things in our life, they impact how we show up and as a result our cycle. Because here's the thing, ladies, your brain and your ovaries, they are connected. Your brain is sending signals to different parts of your bodies for these pathways to be activated. And so our brain is constantly communicating with our chemical messengers. It's creating these chemical messengers, it's sending them out, it's having a conversation on what's going on in our external environment. So that is why you need to think of each menstrual cycle as a 3-month journey. Now let's move into 3 ways to have better periods, have better cycles, because our periods can be simple and supportive to us when we learn to work with them, not against them. And the first way is through how we're nourishing ourselves. What are we eating? It can be the week before your period, you're entering your luteal phase, you're noticing a shift in your mood and energy. So you reach for that snack, you reach for that chocolate bar, you reach for those simple sugars, not recognizing that that's actually going to make your period worse. So, how you're nourishing your body leading up to your period is going to impact the quality of your period. Let me say that again. How you're nourishing your body leading up to your period is going to impact the quality of your period. I used to wonder why I had such terrible periods. And then the first thing that I would do as soon as I got home from a long day would be to take some tortilla chips, throw a bunch of cheese on top, and eat that. Was that very nutrient dense? No. Was it something that was supporting my body? No. So you really need to ask yourself, how can I incorporate whole foods, fiber? How can I incorporate the PFF rule? Protein, fat, fiber at every meal in order to nourish my hormones, stabilize my blood sugar, reduce the stress that my body is feeling. Number 2 is choosing quality menstrual products. Many conventional tampons and pads have nasty chemicals in them, which in turn make our periods worse. Whether it's bleach, whether it is genetically modified cotton, which is not ideal as it's been sprayed with glyphosate, most likely, which is, well, back in 2014, was labeled probably carcinogenic to humans by the International Agency for Research on Cancer. When something is touching our vagina, it is more absorbent. It is up to 10 times more absorbent than applying something on other parts of our body. So, yes, it is important to be thorough with what we're applying on our skin or on our body, but our vagina is even more absorbent. And so, you want to make sure that you're choosing clean brands. I'll link some in the video description so that you can have supportive periods and that you're just not making it worse, adding to the inflammation and giving your body the break that it needs. Because heavy periods, irregular periods, painful periods, that's our body's way of speaking to us. It is a conversation saying, please help. And so here's how we can help. And number 3 is to honor your cyclical nature, ladies. No 2 days are the same for you. You're not a man who has a 24-hour up and down hormonal rise and fall of testosterone. You're a woman. And that means that every single day it looks a little bit different. You're going through these 4 different phases. So take the time to understand what each of these phases mean. Maybe you're on your period. Maybe that means slowing down a little bit, going on a walk, opting out of high intensity movement because that's not really supporting your hormones at that time. It's listening to your body, it's learning about the 4 phases and then implementing what actually resonates with you as opposed to feeling like you're being confined to really rigid rules. So I have an entire playlist on my YouTube channel, cycle syncing playlist that you can go and watch where I break down each phase into bite-sized chunks for you. And then the next step is that if you have been on this journey for some time now, you've been trying many things, you're doing the supplements, you're doing the spearmint tea, you feel like you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and nothing's quite sticking, then invest in working with a practitioner. Get the testing done. I work with women and I like to get the Dutch hormone test done. It's what I got done many years ago and it's one of the 2 tests that I would want most women to get. The Dutch hormone test and the GI map test. And so if you're interested in working with a practitioner, seek someone out in your area or find someone online like myself. So if testing is something that you're interested in exploring, send me a message on my Instagram with the word test. And then I can learn more about you to see if I can help you. And if I can, we can discuss our options together. So I'll link my link for my Instagram in the description. I will link the clean menstrual products in the description. I will link my cycle syncing video playlist in the description. And if you have any questions at all, please comment below. As for now, I am sending you so much love wherever you are.
I wanna know your name. Baby, you're bubbly and radiant. You got some flavor and I'm trying to savor it. Palm gripped on the fruit.